Hello everyone, thank you so much for joining us today for the lunch seminar session. So I am very pleased to invite today Mr. Masaya SUGITA for a very interesting lecture, which is called Housing and Material Reuse Toward a Sustainable Business Model for Wooden Architecture in Japan. So I will briefly present Mr. SUGITA. Sugita-san is an advisor for global business at Kameoka Construction, based in Fukushima City in Japan. After earning a PhD in engineering in the field of rural planning at the Tokyo Institute of Technology, Dr. Sugita worked as an international development consultant for Yachino Engineering. In 2017, he founded MSC Partners, which supports the overseas expansion of Japanese construction and manufacturing industries. He has been involved in Kameoka Construction as an external expert since 2020. And since 2022, he has served as an internal advisor for global business, supporting business partnership with foreign design office and the expansion of kominka and kozai businesses to global markets, including France and Taiwan. So, please, Sugita-san, the floor is yours.
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I would like to thank you all for attending today's seminar, both on-site and online. And special thanks to the Institut Français de Recherche sur le Japon à la Maison franco-japonaise and Ms. on-site for all their hard work in organizing this event. It's truly an honor for me to be here as a speaker today. I'm here representing Kameoka Construction based in Fukushima Prefecture in the Tohoku region. Today I traveled from my hometown in Aomori Prefecture, which is even further up north, to Tokyo by Shinkansen. And this morning in Aomori, the temperature was actually -5 degrees Celsius, so it's definitely a relief for me too, in the warmth of Tokyo. Every time I travel from the countryside to the city, I'm always amazed by the dramatic changes in the landscape and cityscape. It's a powerful reminder of how more and more people and economic activities are being drawn to urban areas. I had a similar experience last November during my trip to France. As I traveled on the TGV, I couldn't help but notice the stark contrast between the French countryside and the busy capital Paris. In Japan, the migration from rural areas to cities continues to be one of the key factors behind the increase in vacant houses and the need for their reuse, which is what I'll be discussing with you today. In today's presentation, I'd like to begin with introducing kominka, traditional wooden houses, and kozai, used wood materials. I will then briefly explain the challenges in wooden construction and potential solutions in Japan. After that, I will introduce our company and some case studies from Japan and Taiwan, along with our ongoing activities in France. Finally, I'll conclude by sharing our vision for sustainable wooden construction. So let's dive into the topic. At first, I want to explain what a kominka is. There is no strict definition of a kominka, but it generally refers to a traditional Japanese wooden house built using a post and beam construction method, typically constructed before the Building Standards Act was enacted in 1950. So many of the houses referred to as kominka are generally 75 years old. The structures of kominka often feature natural materials and techniques such as post and beam construction, as I said, intricate joinery, stone foundations, earth walls, and tiled or thatched roofs. In Japan, kominka are not actively traded as second-hand houses for some reasons that I will explain later. As a result, many uninhabited kominka have ended up being incinerated. However, in recent years, their cultural and environmental value has been increasingly recognized, especially regarding their potential to reduce CO2 emissions through the reuse of building materials. As a result, the number of kominka being relocated or renovated for use as housing or commercial facilities is steadily rising. And what is a kozai? Kozai refers to reclaimed wood that retains enough quality for reuse. By reusing kozai, we can significantly reduce energy consumption and CO2 emissions that would otherwise arise from waste disposal and the production of new building materials. Kozai can be repurposed for various uses, such as structural elements like posts and beams, decorative interior materials, fittings such as sliding doors, custom-made furniture, and even secondary wood products like art objects and tableware. Ideally, all kominka and kozai would be reused within Japan. However, there are significant social challenges that make this difficult to fully achieve. In Japan, the number of uninhabited houses is steadily increasing, especially in rural areas due to the decline in population and the ongoing trend of urban migration. As of 2023, approximately 9 million uninhabited houses were recorded, with many of them in poor condition. Unfortunately, a large number of these houses are demolished and burned because their owners can no longer be maintained. This not only results in the loss of valuable historical and cultural building materials, but also contributes to increased CO2 emissions. Some of you may be wondering why old houses are not actively traded as second-hand homes in Japan. There are several reasons spanning from market preferences to customer expectations and industry challenges. First point is customers' preference for new homes. In Japan, most customers prefer newly built houses and apartments. Unlike Europe or the United States, where there is a cultural appreciation for the charm and value of antique wooden houses, Japan does not necessarily share the same perspective. Second point is rising seismic standards. As you know, Japan is prone to earthquakes. The country regularly updates its seismic standards. For example, Japan has undergone 3 major revisions to its earthquake resistance standards over the past 60 years, in 1971, 1981, and 2000. Each of these revisions was made in response to the damage caused by the most recent major earthquakes. Older homes that no longer meet these standards are often replaced, leading to demand for new constructions. Third point is an industry slow to adapt. Major housing construction companies continue to focus on selling new homes. While this approach was suitable during times of population growth, but it does not address the needs of today's shrinking population in Japan. As a result, the number of vacant homes is steadily increasing. Another important consideration is that the value of used homes can drop in a short period of time in Japan. Wooden houses in Japan physically last over 50 years, with high-quality ones exceeding 100 years with proper maintenance. However, their real estate value often declines to zero within 20 or 30 years due to consumer preferences and market dynamics. And the legal depreciation period for wooden houses in Japan is set at 33 years for personal use and 22 years for commercial use, which defines the duration for tax-related depreciation. However, this period often underestimates the actual physical durability of wooden houses. Due to this background, old wooden houses are frequently undervalued in real estate appraisals. Their market value often drops to nearly zero after 20 years, despite their physical durability typically exceeds 50 years. This reflects a disconnect between appraisal practices and the true longevity of these properties. Additionally, there are several technical challenges when it comes to obtaining high-quality kozai from demolition sites. It may not be particularly difficult to simply dismantle a wooden house on site, and it is relatively easy to remove and reuse small items such as sliding door and fittings. On the other hand, relocating a kominka or reusing structural parts of it as kozai requires careful planning by experts. This involves considering the reuse design plan before the dismantling process. And of course, it comes at a higher cost. The dismantling process involves recovering various structural components while preserving their integrity and quality. This is not a task that can be carried out by just anyone. It requires a high level of technical expertise and knowledge. To address these challenges, we are focusing on the following solutions. First, developing demolition and preservation methods. It is essential to establish effective methods for dismantling and preserving old houses and materials, ensuring their quality is maintained. Second, renovation for modern living. The goal is to redesign these spaces to incorporate contemporary design, improve insulation, and make them suitable for modern lifestyle. This approach is a standard practice in renovation. Third, incorporating kozai into new designs. We aim to repurpose kozai materials, which have been part of kominka for over 100 years, by integrating them as decorative elements in modern architectural spaces. These materials are versatile and can be used not only for residential purposes, but also as decorative features in offices, meeting rooms, banquet halls, cafes, and accommodation facilities, and so on. It's also important to raise understanding of people concerned from a long-term perspective. Considering the scarcity of kozai and promoting sustainability across stakeholders and generations, kominka often use rare wood species like 150-year-old zelkova, which are no longer available in Japan. And managing certain tree species requires over 200 years of forest stewardship, passed down through multiple generations. However, post-1945 forestry reforms in Japan introduced the use of fast-growing cedar for 30-year cycles. Azalean cedar is always also the main causes of hay fever, pollen allergy in Japan. While the widespread use of inexpensive imported timber has made the long-term forest management more challenging in Japan. A few years ago, I visited a logging site for Aomori hiba, which is a local type of cypress with a friend in Aomori Prefecture, who is both an architect specializing in wooden architecture and operates a timber store as a family business. I was amazed by the sight of timber over 200 years old, stacked in abundance, as shown in the picture photo below. In Europe, buildings over 200 years old are still commonly in active use. So from a long-term perspective, people in Europe may find it easier to appreciate the value of Japan's kozai in terms of its scarcity. Addressing these long-term challenges requires raising awareness and fostering collaboration among stakeholders, including specialists, craftsmen, carpenters, foresters, and property owners across multiple generations. This also be key to tackle the challenges in wooden construction. These are examples of kominka renovations, repurposing, and the use of reclaimed kozai for interior in Japan. You can, of course, renovate kominka for use as a primary or secondary residence. And reclaimed kozai materials are also used for interior renovation of apartments. As a commercial use, conversion into commercial spaces such as cafes, restaurants, or shops for food or various products are also available. As a hospitality use, you can repurpose it as hotels or hostels to accommodate domestic and international tourism. Our company specializes in relocating kominka renovating them and reusing kozai in various projects. Now, let me introduce our company. We, Kameoka Construction, are a construction company based in Fukushima Prefecture, Japan. Founded in 1968 as a civil engineering firm, we have grown into a general construction company, celebrating our 58th anniversary this year. When people hear Fukushima, many may remember the Great East Japan earthquake of 2011. Although I joined the company after that event, I've heard many stories of how all the employees worked tirelessly, day and night, to repair buildings and support the community in the aftermath of the earthquake. Thanks to the generous support from around the world, including France, Fukushima has largely recovered and daily life has returned to normal. We will never forget this kindness and continue to live with the belief that it's now our turn to give back to others, both in Japan and globally. We have made significant achievements in several key areas of construction, including the development of durable and earthquake-resistant wooden houses. We also worked on large-scale wooden and collective housing projects. Our portfolio includes the construction of health and social facilities, stores, and commercial spaces, as well as the repair and construction of public infrastructure. Additionally, we have been deeply involved in the rehabilitation and renovation of traditional kominka houses, as I said. Furthermore, as an initiative to recycle wood resources outside of construction, we are collaborating with a non-profit organization to recycle wood resources by turning discarded wood into chips, discarded wood chips into thread and fabric products. Our goal is to establish a system to collect small wood pieces that can be used in construction and recycles them into these products. The foundation of our kominka project stems from the challenges associated with traditional Japanese houses, as discussed earlier. In 2015, we became members of the National Association for the Rehabilitation of Kominka. Through this association, we gained valuable insights and connected with people from across Japan. This experience highlighted the urgent need to preserve kominka as an essential part of Japan's cultural heritage. Ensuring that those of traditional homes and their values are passed on to the future generations. We also wanted to share this significant aspect of Japanese culture with the world, which led to the creation of our initiative. Our business, which focuses on relocating kominka and reusing kozai, operates under the brand name AUN, as shown in the logo on the top right of the slide. The name AUN is deeply rooted in Japanese tradition. It represents the Japanese phonetic alphabet, starting with A and ending with M, symbolizing the cyclical nature of sustainability and the continuous reuse of materials such as wood. Next, I'll share the initiatives we are taking to maintain the quality of kominka and kozai. First, we assess the condition of kominka by inspecting structural components, the interior and the basement. We also perform seismic evaluation for buildings that will be renovated or released. It's also important to understand the history of each house through interviews or documents to highlight its cultural significance and rarity. For kozai, we begin with visual inspection, then test its strength, moisture content, and radiation levels to ensure its quality. Next, I'd like to introduce how kominka and kozai can be utilized in terms of interior space, culture, and the environment. The spaces created with kominka and kozai reflect the unique features of traditional Japanese architecture and interior design, blending aesthetic beauty with emotional depth. These spaces bring out the timeless charm of Japan's cultural heritage, providing a harmonious atmosphere that touches both the eyes and the soul. The beauty of the interior style is evident through the use of kozai, which displays authentic marks of life from the past. The materials are natural, creating simple and elegant interiors with a perfect balance between light and shadow that highlights the beauty of both natural and artificial lighting. The spaces are also deeply influenced by traditional Japanese aesthetics with elements inspired by wabi, which embraces simplicity and understated elegance, and sabi, which celebrates the beauty that comes from age. In terms of interior decoration, carpentry, and furniture, these elements evoke powerful emotions. The airy and tranquil spaces provide a sense of calm and openness. There is a unique auditory experience as well, with the sounds of tradition created when sliding fusuma door or shows panels like shh, shh. The natural elements come alive through the texture of tatami, the warmth of wooden floors, and the earthy fragrance of nature. And walking barefoot on tatami brings a pleasant sensory experience, further enhancing the connection with the natural environment. This initiative creates a fusion of history and culture as people from different countries experience spaces made from over 100 years of history through woodwork and furniture. These spaces also serve as venues for cultural practices such as Japanese tea ceremonies, calligraphy, and flower arranging, providing unique opportunities to connect past traditions with present-day experience. Furthermore, the reuse of kozai plays an essential role in reducing environmental impact. By repurposing kozai, we promote recycling, reduce dependence of industrial materials, and conserve energy. This sustainable approach not only minimizes environmental harm, but also supports the continuous cycle of resource use, contributing to a greener, more sustainable future. Next, I'd like to introduce examples of our innovation projects involving traditional Japanese houses and interior remodeling using kozai. This is an example of a traditional house renovation we carried out in 2019 in Kitakata City, Fukushima Prefecture. The house, which was 155 years old before the renovation, had been home to more than 6 people across 4 generations. The owner's requests included removing the steps inside the house, installing a wood stove in the living room, updating the plumbing, adding new bedroom, and making improvements to enhance warmth during the winter. While preserving the unique charm of the traditional house, we created a comfortable living space tailored to modern lifestyles. Since this is a cold region, we also improved the insulation performance. Of the building's total floor area of 230 square meters, 130 square meters have been renovated. Next, here is an example from Nihonmatsu City, Fukushima Prefecture. The house before the renovation was about 150 years old. The owner initially wanted to renovate the old house and contacted several other construction companies, but all they offered were proposal to rebuild it. After consulting with us, we successfully carried out the renovation. This project, which also included the garden, was based on the owner's love for gardening. This traditional house had a modern style room added as an extension. However, we removed those additions and renovated the traditional house itself, achieving a purely Japanese style atmosphere while adapting it for a modern living convenience. As a result, the total floor area was reduced from 218 square meters before the renovation to 137 square meters after. Additionally, the 73 square meter storehouse was also renovated, as shown in the right bottom of the picture. In Japan, as the population per household decreases, the demand for housing spaces is also shrinking, leading to a growing need for downsizing renovations. Downsizing not only makes it easier for owners to maintain and manage their homes, but it also helps improve energy efficiency and reduce renovation costs. This facility is our ICE office. Built in 2023 in Aizu City, Fukushima, is a multifunctional complex that combines office space, a cafe, an exhibition hall, multipurpose rooms, and even lodging facilities. The design of the building integrates modern wooden frameworks along with kozai used as a decorative elements, creating a balanced fusion of contemporary functionality and traditional wooden architecture. This facility serves as an information hub for achievement activities related to kominka, such as relocation and renovation. It also includes a cafe space where visitors can relax and enjoy their time. At the back of the building, there is a small Japanese garden, as shown in the picture on the left. Additionally, the second floor features a multi-purpose room that can be used for local community gathering and other activities. Accommodation is also available in the traditional Japanese house located behind the main building. It is available for rent on platforms such as Airbnb and Booking.com. We warmly invite you to stay when you visit ICE. Here is the construction of a wooden villa in Baoshan Village, Taiwan. Was designed with the following concepts. The villa harmonizes with the natural landscape where the mountains meet the farmland, inspired by the Satoyama concept. Satoyama refers to transitional landscapes between mountain foothills and farmland. In addition, aged and textured kozai materials are carefully reclaimed and integrated into new construction projects. And the villa was built in collaboration with local builders in Taiwan, following detailed planning and design exchanges with accurate 3D data over the internet. Let me now share our current activities related to kominka and kozai in France. First of all, France and Japan share mutual respect and understanding of each other's history, culture, and art. Both nations value traditional woodworking and craftsmanship of carpenters and artisans, recognizing the importance of passing these skills to future generations. We believe this respect creates a demand in France for projects involving the relocation of kominka and the creation of interior spaces using kozai. These pictures are a Japanese traditional house reconstructed in the Albert Kahn Museum and Gardens in Paris. Although these are not our project, we have been collaborating with one of the local construction company in France, who was part of the team that worked on the Albert Kahn project. Additionally, last November, we held a symposium in Paris focusing on sustainable wooden architecture. The franco-Japanese symposium on wooden architecture, focusing on sustainable wooden architecture and the transmission of skills among carpenters and artisans, was held on November 9th, 2024 at the Japan Cultural Institute in Paris. The event received support from the Sasakawa Franco-Japanese Foundation and other sponsors. The symposium featured 4 speakers, 2 from Japan, including a representative from our company, Mr. Kameoka, he's here for today, and another expert in the kominka industry, and 2 French specialists in wooden architecture. In the latter half of the event, a France-based Japanese architect facilitated a discussion and a Q&A session with attendees. The symposium was a great success, attracting over 130 participants, filling the venue to capacity. The 4 speakers presented a variety of topics in the following order. First, Monsieur Baudin, who is the representative of a wood manufacturing and construction company based in Le Mans, France, provided an overview of the company's timber production and construction projects, shared insights into the French wooden architecture market, discussed career paths and training opportunities for carpenters and craftsmen, and showcased examples of Japanese architectural projects. Second, Mr. Kameoka focused on Japanese traditional kominka, addressing the challenges in wooden architecture, sharing achievements in wooden construction, and discussing the kominka and kozai business and initiatives in France. Third, Mr. Toda, who is the manager of Toda Construction in Aichi Prefecture, Japan, presented case studies on the preservation, restoration, and reuse of kominka, highlighted examples of kominka exported to the US and other countries, and discussed collaboration projects with international carpenters and specialists. The last presenter is Monsieur Oscar, who is called the Flying Carpenter, shared his experience in suitable construction using reclaimed wood, focusing on environmentally conscious approaches to buildings, materials, and people. The latter half of the event was for a discussion and a Q&A session with attendees. The discussion covered several key points, including the integration of traditional techniques with modern technologies, establishing quality standards for kozai, and the challenges associated with processing aged materials. During the Q&A session, participants explored the various aspects of Japanese kominka, such as the types of wood used in these houses, methods for learning relocation techniques, and the role of modern industrial products like plastics and adhesives in sustainable wooden architecture. Additionally, fire prevention methods in kominka were discussed. After the symposium, attendees from diverse backgrounds shared passionate comments and questions with the speakers. For example, a French individual interested in relocating a Japanese kominka to their property, and graduate students in architecture with study abroad experience in Japan. And we are open to participating in cultural exchange events like this, organized by governments or private organizations in the future. Given the enthusiastic response from many students at the symposium in France, we also aim to strengthen focusing on Japanese architecture in strengthen collaborations with researchers and students, focusing on Japanese architecture in our kominka-related activities. If you are interested in joining us, learning more, please feel free to reach out. And we have established a collaborative framework with French experts, as seen in the photo of some of our partners from France. Our goal is to meet diverse customer needs while complying with French building standards, including structural integrity, fire prevention, energy efficiency, all while preserving the aesthetics, form, and texture of kominka and kozai. And we are continually expanding our network to include both domestic and international businesses and experts for kominka projects. If you are interested in our initiatives, please don't hesitate to contact us. In addition, we are currently seeking individuals or organizations in France who may be interested in relocating traditional buildings from Japan that are scheduled for demolition. There are two sets of temple gates in Aichi Prefecture, with one set already decided to be exported to the US. For the other set of gates, we believe relocating them to a location in France or some other countries in Europe would help spread Japanese culture more widely in the world. Possible destination could include public parks, gardens, Buddhist facilities, or private properties of those who appreciate Japanese culture. As the recipient has not yet been decided, we would appreciate it if you could contact us if you are interested. We would be happy to provide more information. We are also focused on minimizing the environmental impact of international transportation when relocating kominka to France and reusing kozai in France. A common concern is the potential increase in CO2 emissions from transporting kozai from Japan to France. As shown in the table, Japanese research helps estimate CO2 emissions for 3 scenarios. Kominka relocation on the left, new timber construction in the middle, and mixed concrete timber construction on the right. Maritime transport via container ships generates significantly lower CO2 emissions per weight compared to air or truck transport. And the additional CO2 emissions from shipping kozai to France are minimal compared to the emissions produced when manufacturing new construction materials. We are also exploring the possibilities of partnering with furniture companies that frequently transport containers from Japan to France. When the amount of kozai to be transported is small, we consolidate the kozai into their regular containers to reduce both costs and energy consumption. Furthermore, unused kozai in Japan is often incinerated, releasing CO2, as I said. By repurposing these materials in France, we can avoid these emissions, contributing to further CO2 emissions. Another important aspect of our activities in France is fostering cooperation between Japan and France to train the next generation of carpenters and craftsmen. In Japan, the number of craftsmen skilled in traditional wooden construction is steadily declining. This is due to the increase in non-wooden buildings and the aging of current artisans. Furthermore, the recruitment and training of young craftsmen to carry on these vital skills has been insufficient. For example, during the relocation of kominka to France, Japanese craftsmen can collaborate with young French artisans and woodworking artists. This partnership not only helps preserve traditional craftsmanship, but it also inspires the younger generation to take an active interest in supporting the cultural heritage of both Japan and France. As a result, this collaboration creates a positive cycle, fostering greater appreciation and attracting new talent to the field. In France, there are various ideas for reusing Japanese kominka and repurposing spaces made from kozai. For example, using the structure as a main secondary home or vacation residence. Another option could be converting it into a tiny house. Additionally, the space can be used for commercial or hospitality purposes. Why not incorporate Japanese aesthetics into the interior design by using kozai? Finally, I'll conclude by sharing our vision for sustainable wooden construction. First, circular use of wooden resources. We aim to achieve the reuse of wood materials through the relocation of kominka and the reuse of kozai, thus ensuring the sustainable cycle of wood resources. Second, reevaluation of wood construction. We are committed to reassessing and valuing the design, performance, and cultural significance of wooden architecture. This also includes enhancing their aesthetic and functional value to meet modern needs. Third, reducing environmental impact. By preventing the incineration of kozai and promoting its reuse, we aim to save energy and reduce CO2 emissions, contributing to the global efforts in environmental preservation. Fourth, vocational training and knowledge transfer. We believe in training and developing skilled carpenters and craftsmen. This process will pass down valuable traditional skills, improve their income, and elevate their social status, ensuring the sustainability of the craft. Fifth, building social and economic infrastructure. We strive to promote various types of wooden constructions, not only for housing, but also for commercial and public facilities, laying a solid foundation for both economic and social infrastructure. Thank you very much for your attention.